Questions for Coach?
Just considering the fact that you guys control your own destiny over these next three, are you maybe embracing like a must-win situation, or is this kind of like treating it like any other game? What's the approach mentally?
Yeah, we're treating it like any other game. Obviously, everybody knows what's at stake these with our remaining schedule, but you can't look too far ahead or you're going to get burned. So this is a Minnesota team that's played really good basketball on the road. They've won 3 in a row. They swept the LA teams, UCLA and USC, and they've won 3 in a row away from home. So this is a team that's doing a lot of good things. They've got one of the most unique, best players in the conference, first-team All-Guy, and Dawson Garcia, and they've got other guys that can make shots. And the importance of us coming out and playing a complete game. Obviously, we played one of our best defensive game that's ever been played here. Gave up 49 points and couldn't find a way to win it. So we got to play complete basketball, consistent basketball on both ends of the floor. And if we do that, we're going to be fine. If we play with that type of effort, which I talked about the other night, we're going to put ourselves in a position to win games. So, huge opportunity where we are. We're playing for something right now, which is great. And hopefully we play our best basketball here down the stretch.
After the Penn State game, you kind of just flushed the defensive performance. After this one, you just flushed the offensive performance.
No, we watched a lot of clips. That's about as long as offensive edit as we've had. Normally, I'll keep it pretty short and concise and into 1 or 2 topics, but we were obviously not very good. And even at times, we'd fall down, and we weren't getting heat on the rim. If we would have had a wide open shot for our shooters. So there was little things that happened. And listen, it happened to both teams. Michigan wasn't very efficient at the rim, and certainly I think we were 8 for 27 at the rim. And you're not going to win very many games when you do that. And we still had a chance to win the damn game. So, to answer your question, Robin, we watched a very long offensive edit. We even went back and watched really good offensive clips when we played with the right pace, when we played the right way, when we screened the bottom hip, when we followed the offensive game plan. The things that we can do, and when we do it right. And we did it right the other night. We actually got good looks. Didn't always go in, but, you got a good shot. Sometimes this business is so result-oriented, but, we had some good shots that just didn't go in. And you learn from that. You show those as well. When you do it right, generally good things happen. But, we just need to get back to playing consistently on both sides of the ball.
How do you mentally, emotionally handle just the stakes of this game without making it more than what it is?
You don't have. These guys have their phones. They read everything that you guys are saying, that the national pundits are saying, and so it's out there. You downplay it, overplay it, whatever you want, but these guys know the importance of where we are and what's in front of us, and what possibly still could happen. That hasn't been done in this program very often. So, these guys get the stakes right now, and again, we just got to live up to the standard that's been set, and we showed it. We've shown it on both sides of the ball. We just need to put it together. We need to play complete 40 minutes of basketball on both ends. In this league, to win, you have to do that, and that's why Michigan State, Michigan, Maryland. That's why those teams are on top, and everybody else is fighting like hell to get in it. And even the Big Ten tournament, that's still, it's crazy to me. The bottom of the league, it's the best in the country, top to bottom. There's not a better league than the Big Ten. There is 0 nights off. You have certain leagues, those bottom teams. If you show up, a lot of times you're going to win. You can't do that in this league, obviously, as has been shown.
How do you think guys have handled the nerves and the extra things that come with all of that?
I think they're handling it fine. They're preparing well. They're getting their rest. Trying to make sure they're putting the right things in their body. At least they do in front of us. And they're doing fine with all that. The biggest thing is you can't get fragile when things aren't going well. And I thought we hung our heads a little bit the other night. I showed a clip of an NBA coach talking about next play mentality, and if you can't let. We had certain guys that didn't make a shot, or, one guy was 2 for, a lot. And, however many misses, you can't let that affect the rest of the game. Those misses take 1 second to shoot. And, you can't let that affect, the rest of your game. It affected our pace. It affected our execution. A lot of time it affects your defense. It affected our offense the other night when the ball wasn't going in our basket. We just didn't have that same, thrust that when we are a good basketball team that we have.
How'd Burke come out of the workload from that game?
Yeah, Burke feels great. Yep, he was full practice, full participant in practice today.
Was there any message with him after we know he's a better shooter than what he showed at Michigan, but what was the message to him after that over 10 performance?
Well, the thing, when you play this game and you play it at a high level, when you take that amount of time off and you have very limited reps in practice, you're going to have some rust on you, and I think we saw that. And I said this the other night. It's too bad the timing of that injury for Burke. First of all, to miss Maryland, which has the biggest front line, them in Michigan, to miss that game and still compete like we did and have a chance to win, and basically have whatever it was 10 days with very little impact on his ankle. And then he has basically one practice of live reps, and then you're thrown back out there, and you're expected to, have the same type of impact. It affects your legs, it affects your lungs. The fact that he was able to play 31 minutes, I was amazed that he was able to be out there that much. So you expect some of that rust, and he'll get it back. He was coming into his own with his shot. It was looking better, and his shots, I thought as the game went on, they were better. They were closer. He was short early, which I think happens when you come back from an injury like that. But Burke's gonna be fine. You see what the importance of having him on the court, what he does from us from a defensive standpoint, and again, I think he'll get it going again offensively.
You mentioned the strength of the bottom of the league, and you look at some of these recent teams you've been playing, Northwestern, Penn State, and obviously Minnesota coming up. These guys are playing for something too, trying to fight to get into the Big Ten tournament. How much does that aspect, I guess, change these types of games late in the season where maybe these teams aren't playing for something in years past and now they're giving you a much tougher?
Well, listen, these teams have a lot of pride, whether they're playing. I look at our team a couple of years ago that won 3 in a row. We had a bad year. We went 3 in a row, 2 of those on the road at Wisconsin, at I think Ohio State. And, a year before that, big win at Penn State, and that might have been the Ohio State win. Hell, they all run together. But, my point is, these teams have a lot of pride. These coaches have a lot of pride to try to put your team in a position to win. And, yes, Penn State, even last night after winning our game and then winning at Minnesota, had a really good chance to win at Indiana in their game. You look what Northwestern's doing right now with their recent stretch as well. So yes, teams are playing and they are fighting and clawing and scratching. If you can get in a conference tournament, anything can happen in that setting. So I promise you, everybody's fighting to get in, and then the tiebreak element as well. With playing a lot of teams only one time, that's going to be important when the seedings are going on for the conference tournament as well, in the buys and all that stuff. So there's a lot to be played out yet with all of us, and these last 3 games are obviously they're huge.
Check, but not let somebody else that maybe doesn't put up the same numbers go off on you.
Yeah, I mean, Dawson Garcia is so talented, and they run a lot of good stuff for him. They'll let him handle the ball. They'll run small on big ball screens. They ISO him a lot, which rightfully so with his talent level at especially around the elbows and in the short post, and he can shoot the 3. So he's a problem out there, and not just one guy. I mean, it's a full team issue. So, yeah, you got to have your help, and then you got to know who the shooters are. This is a big, KYP, or Wilson, you might say NYP, know your personnel game, but just kidding. But, it's you got to understand who you're guarding, who you're closing out to, who you want to run off the 3-point line, and then who you want to short close to if they're more of a driver. So this is a big game, maybe as big as we'll play, because there's so much attention that's going to be drawn to Dawson Garcia.
Did you like the lineup that you started with the game with, or did you switch it up?
I mean, we're always looking, Mike. I mean, we'll look at it. A couple games ago, we started small with BK at the 5, and certainly Sam was starting before the last game, and so we've thrown a lot of different lineups out there. Historically, we've been a team that's pretty much started the same, but this year we've changed the lineup, so we'll get it figured out by Saturday.
Several of the transfers you brought in this year maybe had never been in this type of position late in the year, fighting for an NCAA tournament spot. Do you say anything to them, or how have you seen maybe them handle this moment?
Yeah, again, they know what's at stake, and we do talk about those things, but it's more about one possession at a time. It's not, guys, if we win 2 or 3 or all 3 of these games, we're going to play in the tournament. They know that, but we're talking about you can't skip steps. You got to go out there. We missed a transition opportunity in the first half, and they get a wide open dunk on it where it was a pretty simple coverage. That possession means as much as the last possession. So, it's more of go out there, take care of business, go out there. We challenged them today to have the best practice of the year, and they went out there and they were flying around. This was after 2 days off. So, you hope you have their legs and their energy, and we had to get back after it today and really emphasize the things that we needed to get better from the Michigan game. And, yeah, it is. It's a new situation, but, again, I commend them for putting us in this spot to be playing for something at this time of year. There are a lot of teams around the country. They're really just playing to get to the end of the year. We're playing for something right now, and that's what this business is all about.
I think, was the 2 days off beneficial? I know you were kind of iffy on it the other day.
Oh, I'll let you know after Saturday if it was beneficial or not.
How much do you think the experience last year being kind of in a similar situation record-wise and postseason stuff has helped you guys?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mike. There's so many new pieces this year. Certainly we have some of the returners that were here a year ago with Bryce and Jawan and Sam, and Aaron was part of it a year ago. Cale, Jeff, Henry. So we've got a lot of guys that were a part of it last year's group, but there's so many new pieces as well. But did it help us? I don't know. Again, we put ourselves in a position where we're playing for something, and that's the important thing. And hopefully we can take care of business.
Sam said after the Penn State game that felt he was the worst game in his college career for him to bounce back, and he was one of the guys making shots against Michigan. But did you like that from him, that bounce back?
Yeah, Sam, I thought he hunted his shot. I thought he was aggressive with it, and hit a couple big ones for us. That one, I think, a minute and a half left. On a play where they defended Bryce well. I thought the counter to the action was really good, and that cut it to 1. Unfortunately, we couldn't get another basket to go after that. And we had a couple good looks. Bryce has a transition shot. He got 2 looks under a minute that he normally makes. Got a good look on the inbounds shot as well, that little mid-range 15-footer. And then we missed a good look at the end of the game. So we got some good looks. Unfortunately, they didn't go down. But, I thought Sam did some good things for us out there.